This is Let's Talk Teens, a parenting podcast sharing tips on raising amazing teenagers. We are both certified life coaches that have worked with teenagers as coaches, mentors, and teachers. We are sharing what we have found to work best when dealing with teens and tough issues. This is Abbi and Cheree, Let's Talk Teens, episode 49. 4 things every teen needs to know about change.
I just like this topic, Abby, because I think even as adults, we have a lot of brain drama about change, right? These are just some things that I wish that someone specifically would have told me when I was a teen. Um, I don't know. They seem like common sense things, but I just think we need to be told them, right? Okay, number one, you can change your mind. So
Mm-hmm.
nice that we can change our mind. Like I would have loved someone to tell me when I was in high school or even when I was in my beginning years of college, I can change my mind about my career choice or what my major was or what I was interested in. I could change my mind in high school or junior high about a team I was on or a club or who I hung out with. Like it was okay for me to change my mind. From I think a little bit when I was in those early years of teens and teenagers, I thought I had to like make a decision and stick with it. So I just love that idea that you can change your mind. Things are very few things are permanent. And if we kind of explore an area that we're interested in and we don't end up being interested in it, we can change our mind. If we hang out with friends and then we learn that we don't really like jive with them or they don't have the standards that we want or whatever, we can change our mind. If we say yes to going on a date and we just have that uneasy feeling, we can say we've changed our mind and say no. Like we can change our mind. I love that.
I think that comes down to confidence. Like that's something that I had like a little bit of as a teen, right? Our confidence changes throughout our life, but I feel like it comes down to that confidence of I'm okay to change my mind. And I think there's so much pressure on a teenager to have it all figured out and to know, oh, what career I want to have and these are my friends and this is my set hobby. And so I love that idea. Like I can change my mind.
Don't you think it'd be freeing if a teenager gets a job? They think they want to work at like Fizz or Twisted Sugar or something, and they start and they actually really hate it. And their parent was like, "You could change your mind about this job. You could go apply somewhere else."
I
Yeah.
think I shared Cheree. I know in a couple episodes ago, I shared that happened to my sister. She started to work at Boondocks and it was
Yes.
like day one training, hour two. And she was like, I'm sorry, this job is not for me. And like walked out. And
And to make it mean nothing about her, it doesn't mean she's lazy. It doesn't mean that, like she just is a quitter. It just is like, I changed my mind. I changed my mind.
and we laughed so hard as a family. We laughed and laughed about that. So I agree with you. I think that's powerful to let your teen change their mind.
Absolutely. Okay, number two, I just like to think about freedom as a factor in change. So I love to teach my clients that every choice we make either gives us more freedom or less freedom. Instead of like this is a right or a wrong choice, it's more like this will give you more freedom. This will give you less freedom. If you sneak out and hopefully you get caught. No, I shouldn't say hopefully, but you get caught. Is that going to give you more freedom or is it going to give you less freedom? And so sometimes when we think we want to do something, and we really, go through that, like, gosh, is this going to give me more freedom or less freedom? We can change our mind with that too. Like, you know, we can really say, I don't really like this choice. I don't really want to keep vaping because it's giving me less freedom. Or I don't really want to keep sneaking out because it's giving me less freedom. Or, I really like that I told my parents about the situation that I was scared to tell them about because it actually gave me more freedom. So I'm going to change, how I was doing things before. Maybe I was like, keeping things from my parents. I'm going to change it. I'm going to tell them more because it actually gives me more freedom. So I just like to remember that we can change our mind about what we do and what we share because one of them will give us more freedom and one will give us less freedom.
That's such a mature question and thought, right? To always ask yourself, because I do think if a teen can really grasp onto that concept, it helps you in your parenting of that right and wrong, of I want you to do these things like so much because they start to see the bigger picture of, oh, mom and dad aren't trying to wreck my life with all these rules. They're actually trying to give me more freedom.
Mhm. Yep. So we can change how we do things. It's so good. Okay. Number three, the right time doesn't usually exist. There's no like right time. And I think as a teenager, especially, we're like, okay, there's this right time I need to um, decide what college, or there's a right time to talk to my friend about this, or there's a right time for me to start dating, or there's a right time for me to get a job. And I think that we get so in our head about that right time, wrong time thing. I don't know if that ever happened with you, Abby, but just this like there's a right time for everything. And what I have realized instead is it's usually never too early and it's never too late to make changes. There's not a right time to make a change. There's not a wrong time to make a change. There's not a right time to do something or a wrong time, but it's never too early and it's never too late to make a change or to do something differently.
I couldn't agree more just because you'll hear teens say, well, I'm going to do my homework, but first I've got to eat a snack. I'm going to go clean out my room so I can focus, right? And before they know it, they're shocked that they didn't get their homework done, right? And so I think that is a powerful time. There's never a perfect time. We just have to do it, right? You just have to start. And that's one thing I've noticed with my clients is the starting is the hardest part. So I have them set a timer. That's one of my best tricks of when
Yes.
they're like, I don't want to do this. I'm like, just set a timer for 10 minutes and start. And usually, once you just start, you are just fine to keep going.
It's so true. Isn't it the same with goals? Like everyone sets goals at the beginning of the year, January, right? We set these goals because that's the right time to set goals. And then month or two in, we have, not continued our goals. And I think in our brain, that's that whole, okay, well, there was a right time, so now I'll wait till next January to start them again. And that's that whole, it's never too early, it's never too late to adjust those goals or to start them again or to change them. It's just good. Change is good. Okay, number four. Um, this one kind of goes along with what we've talked about before, but choices are not always right or wrong. In fact, I personally believe that there are some, in my world, there's some right or wrong, but not a lot, like very
Hmm.
little right or wrong. Um, and I like to change up my thinking and invite my teen clients to do the same thing with this, that instead of it's always right or wrong, that a lot of times we're just doing things in learning. So instead of like, I did that the right way or I did that the wrong way, I did that in learning. I'm learning in this experience because that kind of stops the overthinking. And we can change our mind and say, you know what, instead of it being right or wrong, I'm just in this experience of learning and growing.
I couldn't agree with you more that I really do think that there are some absolute rights and wrongs, right? And as parents, we get the chance to teach those to our children. And I mean, we'll jump to an extreme that I feel like everybody in the world would agree with, right? It is the wrong choice to kill somebody, right? It's the wrong choice to hurt somebody else. Um, but I think when it comes to pretty much anything else, right? Anything kind of under that umbrella of like our standards, it is like there's no right or wrong choice. And I remember being paralyzed with the fears of what if I choose the wrong college? What if I choose the wrong major? What if I don't do this the right way? And so I think this pairs so beautifully with your first thought of it's okay to change your mind, right? You can go to a college for one semester and go, yeah, I'm gonna go switch this up. Or I feel inspired to go do this instead. And I'm just a big believer that God, that higher power that's driving us all, it's easier to move us when we're in motion. So just be in motion, make some great choices, just continue to do the next right thing. And you'll be amazed at how you look back and go, okay, some of these choices mattered and some of them not so much. But I'm I'm here, right? I'm alive. I always remind myself that. I'm like, I'm alive. I can still change my mind. I can still make great choices.
Yes, I love it. And I think so many of my clients that, especially as they, are closer to that graduating space, there is so many of them that have a lot of brain trauma about like, okay, I have these three options for which college to go to, which one's right and which one's wrong. And that's where I like to kind of get rid of the right or wrong and be like, okay, where do you feel like you're going to have the most learning? Where are you going to have the most growth? What are you being pulled towards? Where do you think you can have a good experience? And you probably could learn and grow and have great experiences at all three of those. So let's kind of get out of your head about it being a right or wrong. And right now, which one's pulling you more? Or which one, like let's just look at this and say which one has more pros and which one has more cons and kind of go from there. And then again, you can always change your mind, but really just changing your mind in the moment of that not all things are right or wrong, that it's just more about the experience that we're going to have there and what we're going to learn and grow and how we become.
And just one last thought I've been thinking about as you were sharing those awesome ideas that when I've worked with clients, a lot of them have been, members of our same faith and our same church. And it's funny that we use an amazing tool of personal revelation, right? We believe God can speak to us and help us and guide us in every kind of day decisions. We use that against ourselves sometimes and we go, well, I just want to make the right decision. I just want God to tell me which one to do, right? And I think sometimes we can use that to paralyze ourselves and do just the opposite of what we're supposed to do, right? And instead go, you know what? And I remember telling this to a teen client one time and they were kind of crushed. So I didn't say it right, but I was like, I don't think God cares too much about this decision, right? And that just like, they were like, what? And I was like, well, not that he doesn't care, but just, I think maybe this might not be one of those pivotal life decisions, right? That your course, it's okay if you go to BYU and it's okay if you go to Weaver State and it's okay if you go to Utah State. Like that was my kind of personal answer. I was like, I kind of feel like it doesn't matter. And guess what? When it came to my life course, it didn't matter because I didn't meet a spouse at one of those schools. I didn't go have a life-changing moment at one of those schools, right? And instead, I think we need to stop using our faith sometimes as a club when we go, well, I just want to make the right choice and we kind of tie it to faith. And sometimes that can get a little sticky.
I am so glad you said that because I think that's one of the number one things where I find that is where we use it against ourselves. And I personally don't think God's going to ever come up to us and be like, wow, you did that wrong. He's like, did you learn? Did you grow? Did you become? Was there some growth in that? I think that he's way more concerned about that. And we're the ones that cripple ourselves with that. So thank you for bringing that up. Oh, we hope you join us on the next episode. It's going to be a good one.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk Teens with Cheree Murdock and Abbi Winslow. If you are looking for more tips to help your teenager, here's where you can find us. You can find Cheree Murdock on Instagram at Cheree Murdock Coaching or on her website, ChereeMurdock.com. You can find me, Abbi, on Instagram as Abbi Winslow or on my website, AbbiWinslow.com. Please rate and review our podcast and share with a fellow parent. Thanks for listening.